Let's test this. Hello.
That is today's agenda.
Testing 1, 2. Go. I'm calling the August planning board meeting to order. Oh, that's why I don't have this is my old book. Uh, And the first item up on the agenda is we have two resolutions that we passed last month. A straw vote, but now we're going to read and pass the official resolutions. Okay, so give me a second here. All right. So this first one is for HTWO Properties LLC. As I said, we went over this last month, and we did a voice vote. Now we're gonna go over the resolution. So resolution approving the subdivision and lot line adjustment for the application of HTWO Properties LLC. Whereas HTWO Properties LLC is the owner of 3 contiguous parcels of land located at 2814-2816 Church Street, 2812 Church Street, and 2818 Church Street. And whereas HTWO Properties has made application to the planning board for a lot line adjustment among the 3 properties, all as shown on the lot line alteration map for HTWO Properties dated June 9th, 2025, and last revised on oh yeah, that's we'll have to fill in that date. I believe it's actually June 9th. I think it's also June 9th.
June 9th might be the last.
Yeah. But we'll get that exact
Yeah,
date.
you could eliminate that.
And whereas the lot line adjustment proposes to add 0.278 acres to parcel number 173256, resulting in a 0.966 acre parcel, removal of 0.226 acres from parcel number 181251, resulting in a reduced acreage of 0.452 acres, and the removal of 0.052 acres from parcel number 185241, resulting in a parcel consisting of 0.837 acres, as shown on the said lot line alteration map. Whereas the planning board has determined that this is a type 2 action under seeker pursuant to section 617.5 subsection 16, which does not require environmental review. And whereas the proposed lot line alteration has been reviewed and approved by the town's engineer and attorney to the town, and whereas the planning board opened the public hearing on the said application on July 16th, 2025, and closed the public hearing on the same date. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the lot line alteration for the above referenced parcels as shown on the lot line alteration map, and authorizes the planning board chairman to sign said map subject to the following conditions: that the said signed map be duly filed in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk with the proof of filing provided to the planning board chairman, that the applicant cause to be prepared appropriate merger deeds for the said parcels to be forwarded to and approved by the attorney to the planning board, and after such approval, the deeds be duly filed in the office of the Dutchess County Clerk with proof of filing provided to the planning board chairman. And that all application escrow fees and other charges imposed on this application by the planning board in the town code shall be paid prior to the signing of the amended site plan by the planning board chairman. Right, we're gonna do a voice vote now. First, Kate?
Aye.
Oh, wait, can I have a motion to accept this resolution?
Motion.
Second. I guess I have to write that down. Was. So. Okay, sorry. Kate?
Yeah.
Dick?
Yes.
Al?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Ethan?
Yes.
No. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are we here? We're missing anyone? Who are we missing?
Which
Scott.
six?
You could.
You're missing Scott. Yeah. Yes. And I also vote. And let it be shown that the resolution carried by a vote of 7-0. Let's say it's 13, right?
Yeah.
All right, that one's done. Next up, on this resolution, Steve is going to be recusing.
And we,
And you too? Okay. And Kate is also recused. All right. Let's see here now. Yeah. All right, so this resolution approving lot line adjustment, special use permit and site plan for an accessory dwelling unit on a parcel of land owned by Steve K. Patterson and Christy J. Acker. Whereas Stephen J. Patterson and Christy J. Acker have made application to the planning board to combine 0.34 acre parcel owned by Schultz Farms LLC with an existing parcel of land owned by Stephen Patterson and Christy Acker, described in document number 02-2005-260, tax ID number 134-200-6971-00-635594, to be consolidated by legal instrument into one total parcel consisting of approximately 2 acres. And whereas Patterson and Acker have also made application for the approval of an accessory dwelling pursuant to section 275-36 subsection D of the town zoning code on a portion of the 2 acre parcel, all as shown on a lot line adjustment survey map prepared by Wesley P. Chase, license number 50986, dated April 30th, 2025, and last amended on June 18th, 2025. And whereas the planning board, is that right, on the last amended date? That's because there was an adjustment made after the last
Right.
meeting, right? So we'll have to get to that exact date on.
Yeah.
Get that exact date of the last amendment. It was post the last meeting, but before this one. Whereas the planning board has determined that these actions are type 2 actions under seeker pursuant to 617.5 subsection C 11, 12, and 16. And whereas the planning board has in its discretion waived the requirement of a public hearing in conjunction with a lot line adjustment and approved the lot line adjustment on June 11th, 2025. And whereas the planning board scheduled a public hearing on the special use and site plan application for the accessory residence on the parcel as combined by the lot line adjustment. And whereas the public hearing on said application was opened on July 16th, 2025, and closed on the same date. And whereas the planning board has determined that the proposed accessory structure complies with the requirements of section 275-36 subsection D of the town code. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby approves the lot line adjustment application, and be it further resolved that the planning board hereby approves the special use permit and site plan for the accessory dwelling unit, and be it further resolved that the applicant shall provide merger deeds for the new parcels created by the lot line adjustment to be submitted to and approved by the attorney to the town, and shall file the same with the Dutchess County Clerk's office. And be it further resolved that all application escrow and fees and other charges imposed on this application by the planning board in the town code shall be paid prior to signing of the amended site plan by the planning board chairman. Can I have a motion to accept this resolution?
So moved. Second.
Voice vote. Okay, so Al,
Yes.
Ethan,
Yes.
Dick,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
and I also vote aye. Let it be shown that this resolution passed by a vote of 5-0. August 2. That one is also done. Easy peasy, right? Now I get the stickies. All right. So, next up on the agenda is, Upstate Pines.
Hi, folks.
Hello.
So I'm Christina from KDA. This is Zach Paul. So I know this project has been before you, I think twice prior. So, we were just recently retained and we submitted some materials trying to kind of summarize, the questions that have come up, so far. So where would you like to start?
Where I could find this, this stuff. Well, where's, do we have we have physical copies.
Yes,
There's no, it's this.
Thank you, right there.
Did everyone get a chance to review this? And Kate is recusing on this application. And George, you got a chance to review this. Warren, you got a chance to review?
No, I don't think that thing. Okay, that's it. No, we have five happening.
We can't get it on the Google Drive.
Yeah, I don't know how to log on to her email. I don't know this.
We want the board to our first thing.
Yes, let's do that.
Sure, so the first page, it's you have the existing site plan
We're talking about this page?
1.0. Yep, got it. What you see in the background with colors is an overlay of the zoning map. And the property has a number of buildings. 4 buildings, they're labeled A, B, and C, and waste station. So the project is a change of use for the waste station to a cannabis dispensary.
We also wanted to, we spoke with, their engineer George. And we worked together, we wanted to,
Is that you?
Nice to meet you. We wanted to avoid any kind of, segmentation within seeker process to show potentially what we could use the existing buildings on site in the future. Although our intent is only to get site plan approval and special use permit for the waste station. So that's one thing we did. So that's kind of added, showing our intent to do a grocery store, an ice cream shop. It's the other building is storage. And so that presented, we needed to revise our short EA, which we submitted. So now I was think that segmentation would be an issue. And also for expediency, we've proposed having a driveway parking lot access that comes off of Railroad Ave instead of where there's currently like a little parking lot. So our intent there is to, you know, not necessarily involve the DOT, within all of those standards, because now we're coming off of a town road. And so we're showing that, and we're showing possible future expansion of parking. But again, not really clear in this section. And also how the septic system would work for the future expansion. So that's on sheet 1.1. And sort of, so first. Then we've included a lighting plan and specifications, and added a little photometric plan. Bottom left is 122. Indicated what kind of lighting proposing. And then finally, the last page is these really are shot at. We understand we've read your zoning codes and have created a map for the board's review of all the areas that would require a waiver. Potentially require a waiver. And so we're just making an argument that I believe it's like 82% of possible parcels that could have cannabis retail would require a waiver. Everything in the Hamlet Main Street district would require a waiver. So we prepared that map just for conversation, because obviously this review, if we were to get a waiver, I think it would you know, obviously be disappointing to us, but it should really be able to it's fine. So that's one thing we're showing.
Well, everything within the Hamlet business they require a waiver.
Right.
Hamlet Main Street, there's places that would not require.
Correct.
Sorry, I got that back. Yes. Yeah, everything in the business district in the middle. And then quite a few properties, I think it's up to like 7%. And would require in the Main Street district.
70% of the Main Street district and 82% of everywhere.
How did you make those measurements?
Use parcel access, and they have a feature on parcel that allows you to come out 300 feet from the property line.
So it's the property,
Correct.
which is slightly different than,
Right, but instead of getting like,
right, it's hard, you can't do
Right.
that.
so it was utilizing an existing pool, we can see.
So this is probably a little bit more restrictive than the actual.
It could,
What I was talking about is that it's from the middle of the front door, not the.
except of course the school districts, according to your which I thought was interesting.
The school district is from the property line.
From the
right?
property,
Yeah.
right, which your code had right. Yeah. Because the state just had to notify a bunch of people, and I don't know if you guys heard about that.
How so?
A lot of existing licenses that were, this is not our case at all, but quite a little history, but the OCN state, the Office of Cannabis
Management.
had to issue like a letter to about 108 licensees because they were measuring from the Dover school, so not the cop.
So the school's property, that's a state regulation.
That's state reg, and that's also in your code.
Okay.
We also reviewed the meeting minutes, so we weren't at, survived, we prepared a memo. We were addressing all the items that we heard, reviewing the meeting in that state. And so. That's probably a sort of comprehensive address of all the comments that we made here.
Do you have this one? No.
Oh, wait,
There's a memo
yeah,
where they go through.
yeah.
So we tried to be thorough, we intentionally maybe have a public hearing scheduled for which, maybe I don't know if you can't remember exactly the agency. That might be cool. Dates night. That's. And any comments or indication on the waiver and what would need to be provided from us to show that it's to think your code language just protects the safety and welfare of the residents of High Plains. Like this it's pretty much the language of it. And so, whatever we can do to help show that that's right.
All right, so. You don't have the code, do you have the codes quoted in here or no?
In a response,
Yes,
I mean, we have
snippets,
just, yeah, essentially, if the first couple pages are all the entire OO cannabis retail dispensary code section responded to every point within that section. And
Check boxes.
right, and then the other elements of the code that we thought were relevant as well, point by point.
specifically referring to the cannabis code.
Sure, so that starts on the first page.
If that's all.
It's quoted there?
Yes.
Ah. Right, okay, good. Everyone sees that, right, for the waiver? What? On, yeah, this is what. They quote the code in number 3. Um. So there's 2 entities that that we determined fall within the category. So once we set the public hearing, which I'm not sure we'll get there tonight, but we'll figure that out in a minute. And I'm gonna send a letter to them, like with specific asking for them to comment on this. That would be the fire district and the postmaster.
Include reading anything from the highway department about using Railroad Avenue as opposed
They-
to 82?
Yes, that's who they would go to for their driveway permit,
The town side.
the town,
Right.
correct.
Mhm.
Yes. By moving it past that tree, right where it is now, right, George, that takes the state completely out of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No longer involved or whatever, so.
All right, let's back up here. Let's go to these other uses that you've indicated for possible future uses. Like, how concrete are those plans? Like, so that's just like, oh, this may be something we might do, or is this like, this is what the owners are planning?
It's essentially to look at the total site one time in terms of its environmental impact so that you can process seeker. And so to
What's
that,
happened in the past, like with segmentation, is that folks will submit for a smaller project and then come back a year later for another small project and come back a year later for another small project. And the state never gets a full picture of the environmental impact of that site. So
So-
that's our intent.
so what
It's
we're
not-
showing you is that you've got you're gonna have a parking lot that's a certain size, you're gonna have a septic system that's a certain size. And the disturbance to the total lot is being presented in this application.
So, yeah, we understand that the larger building was, hardware store. The cost, we're proposing a grocery store, impacts are similar. The ice cream shop are really proposing something, like, it could be that, and that's what we're definitely saying is the future use, but will it absolutely be that? This is our intent at this point.
Where's the septic currently?
So there's currently
Oh, I
a,
see.
there's currently a
Wait,
septic that's
presumed
marked on there.
location.
Right, for the weigh station. And then we're proposing a septic that would be appropriately sized for the future uses in the rear of the lot. The western edge of the lot.
And again, that's because the creation of that septic system would disturb plane.
Is that on here?
Yes,
Yeah, it's on.
on 1.1.
1.1. Yeah, it's
It's Zoom location.
I see the presumed, but the future.
So about
Oh, I see. Future primary, 100% expansion.
yes, yeah. And the weigh station, the second system exists, and we know it's in that location. Or we,
In the presumed location.
yeah, it's our I don't know exactly where it is. So,
Mike, I have a comment. While I really appreciate looking at a future plan, though we didn't have that with us as in storage. And I would have liked to have seen it. It's really cool. But then it begs the question, well, what happens at existing asphalt paving? And as a customer going to the weigh station, why wouldn't I park in that lot instead of this lot that you made? And secondarily, where stone dust is, where your handicap parking is, I'm going to come in to the entry, make a right-hand turn, make a left-hand turn, make another right, get in there, and now I'm nose in, and I have nowhere to back out. I'm not sure if there's enough room for a turnaround. Instead of doing that, I'd be parking in the existing parking lot, which brings us back to the DOT.
Well, yeah, we gotta get to that.
we'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, what-
off
Yeah,
so that it can't be used.
and I really appreciate the fence idea and really refining that. That's wonderful.
And to be fully transparent, I mean, working with the DOT, we got two projects that are right now, used.
They've been sidelined for almost a year. And so
it's very, very slow. So since whatever we can
The
do,
project was sidelined by the DOT.
for a year, two separate projects in two separate towns. And
one of
so,
them's even a date. So it doesn't.
so we're looking at this and saying, these guys have to get open, like, we don't want to lose the right to the curb cut for the future grocery. I mean, but that is going to be a completely separate conversation with DOT, and there's going to be requirements. We might have to put in an apron. We might have to reduce the size of that might be one way in, one way out. I mean, who knows what that's going to entail, but
So are you gonna look to try to get DOT approval
No.
once
Yes, once we are opening up the grocery store,
during the grocery store?
for that parking lot, yes.
I mean, we only need for the code 3.5 spaces, so 4 spaces for this.
So currently you're gonna put a fence or some other blocking from the corner past the scale building up to the edge of the property or whatever, wherever the parking lot ends towards the fire. Is that what you're saying?
We certainly can. To address your comment. About,
I mean, everyone's just gonna park in there if it's open.
I said,
that makes sense.
good point.
That makes-
I mean,
People park.
People park in there
at the
now.
station now. To go to the post office.
yeah, exactly. Warren and George, comment on how this changes how we look at this.
Well, under seeker, we can look at it as an action. But again, the technical review for these future phases would have to come back to the board. If they wanted to open a grocery store, you would come back and we would look at parking, require the septic designed and permitted, right? Not just the future location for one by design professional. Stormwater impacts to any of that larger parking lot area. So all that stuff would all be done under that review and that technical, right? But again, this all came up, was it 2 meetings ago? Remember when the applicant was in and they kind of said future plans for the other buildings. This was just the first one. That's what triggered the comment of what if you've got future uses, you need to disclose them. But again, to the extent that those may not be getting built or designed out or anything for a number of years, like you would not want a large septic system designed and constructed and not being used. That's not good for the septic to send minimal flow to it, right? Similarly, it's not good for any of us or the environment to make a large scale parking lot that is not going to be used because there's no grocery store, there's no ice cream shop, there's no nothing. But we can't ignore the fact that it's potentially going to happen at some point in the future. So we can look at it under seeker and see what.
I mean, it strikes me as an
But
idea
not
at this point, as more than a plan.
I understand what you're saying, but we can't, since it was brought out to us while we're under review, it either needs to be completely taken away and that becomes problematic. If in fact it comes back, then if you go back and they mention, well, wait a minute, you said no, and now you're saying yes. So in my opinion, the better way to address this is to do a review under seeker for the whole thing and only approve the cannabis shop as a technical thing, if you in fact get to the point of approving. The other phases have to come back for technical design and review and approval. We would stand on your previous seeker review unless something substantial changed.
Alright, so that review, if we neg deck it or whatever, we have to say that if a grocery store and an ice cream shop come here in the future, we're open to those uses as long as they satisfy the technical requirements.
Yeah.
Does that sounds right to you, Warren? That's it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It doesn't sound to me like the applicant has any concrete plans
That's what I thought.
for the grocery store or the ice cream shop. So I don't think it would violate the sort of segmentation. Given the fact that it's really a kind of a wish list of two things that they want to do in the future rather than a concrete plan. And we don't have enough information about those two facilities to really do a viable seeker review of all three projects. It'd be disappointing if they came back in a month and then you get go with a proposal.
Then we'll call them stewards.
You know, we would have been a scam. But if it sounds like it's something that may possibly happen in the future, no concrete current plans, I have no problem just reviewing the environment actually also at this point. And then revisiting seeker when they come in with plans for the development for the rest of it.
The more I would confirm that that is the case.
Mhm.
It's more than like a wish list. It's like,
There's existing buildings.
there's existing buildings
So
and
you're gonna raise them.
there's the intent to use them and not leave them empty, which I think is a good thing for the town. And
The Hamlet, Main Street. Seems like it owns
the time frame is to be determined and, we can fully intend to come back if and when those buildings can move away.
And the amount of information that they provided isn't enough for us to make that determination, you guys feel, yes? I'm asking Gordon more. The amount of information that they provided on here about these possible future uses is enough for us to. Yeah, this current form, is there things missing?
As long as we can substantiate that the parking lot is the correct size, right, for both grocery store. Parking combinations, right, the septic would be appropriately sized. Based on that, so we know it technically fit. Again, there would have to be a stormwater component at this point, if you were to build out that parking lot septic. And again, including the cannabis shop would you think that. You're gonna have over an acre of disturbance on such a property that would trigger the soil. Right, so that would have to be accounted for. Again, you wouldn't want to design and install those things now,
But that could be done
it
later.
could be done later. In a future phase.
I mean, is that area paved already with a future parking lot?
No.
It's not. It's gravel.
Well, gravel.
Well, it's impervious stuff, okay.
Gravel, right. Yeah, so that's considered impervious under stormwater regs. So again, to the extent that it was an existing site, that's considered impervious. This would be considered redevelopment under stormwater regs. So it's a much smaller lift than like if this was trees and meadow and taking that parking lot. There'd be a huge stormwater plan for the redevelopment. They want you to redevelop, so you're not cutting down trees and taking virgin ground and
Right.
stuff. So you get credits for redeveloping existing site. So you'd be doing impervious to impervious, no increase in impervious, let's say, to 25% more quality volume instead of 100%. There's different things in there. But again, it would be no point in doing it now, just for cannabis show. But it would be required if some other things came online. That's what I'm saying.
So as long as we just have that in the record that they have to come back with all these
And it
technical
has to
things.
come back, yeah, for that technical review. And again, something might get tweaked, like they were saying. Let's say the ice cream store concept falls through and it turns into something else. I don't know. Cafe, bookstore, who knows, right? Again, it's a retail establishment. Maybe that changing the parking requirement, or maybe that slightly changes your sector, it's something, right? But that would have to be addressed and accounted for, or the technical review. Maybe changes your traffic, or, does that matter to that if you say anything? But, yeah, you're right. You have to have enough information to base a secret determination. And then if something changes in those future technical reviews that is substantially different in the board's opinion than what you based your seeker determination on, then seeker would open up again. Look at it again. If nothing changed in your minds, then you could say, well, we reviewed this under these parameters, and we're going to stand on that previous review. But you would have to have enough information to talk about to move forward.
What's at the, where the entrance is gonna be? What's there now in the little drive along the bottom of the future ice cream shop to where the parking lot is? So is that grass or is that gravel or what's there now?
That's correct.
It's grass, I believe so. So we're adding some impervious tonight in that.
Right, but currently we're not going up to that 1 acre threshold, nor is near it. So this doesn't require storm. Like, so if the project stalls for whatever reason, and no one moves forward and doing anything. So again, the stormwater only works if you put in like the conveyance system, like you got to capture the water and catch casing and pipe bring it there. So we don't want to encourage anyone.
So they don't have to worry about doing,
Basis.
they don't have to do any stormwater remediation with this.
Not for this, but like I said, depending on how long it takes, I think I'd have to look. I think Seeker has it's either 2 years or 5 years. Stormwater regs have to look for that period. So if it did something on the site, let's say 2 years ago, and this is year 3, that doesn't count it. If you do this and it's a smaller project and you come back in a year and a half or something like that, another project, then they say, well, count that disturbance in this. So you would have
And they wouldn't have to do it now because of the size of it.
because of the size, it requires 1 acre disturbance.
The other problem, like if you just don't have enough information
On the other,
on the other uses to do an intelligence seeker. So I would not be happy if you did a secret review of all 3 projects, the site, and deck it, and then they come back 3 years later with an application that requires a more intensive environmental review. They're going to argue that you already did your sequel of grounds for development. So I would, in this instance, I think we should go. In spite of the fact that they've identified as future uses. And we can take that into account, because the secret review that they will be able to use.
and we acknowledge it's possible, yeah. Well,
I just rather wait to see what they come in with. And leave all of our options open. We're doing, integrating a project.
does that seem to make sense, Sarah? All right, so we talked about possibly closing that off for DOT, talked about the waiver, Well, it's a seeker. Oh, yeah. The handicap entrance. So what, now you're asking for a waiver that I believe Ed has to give. Correct, Ed? This is a building code waiver they're asking for, and that's in your purview. Have they provided any estimates?
No.
So did you guys review that? That is, it's, so the project was $75,000 originally, the renovation of the building? And it's 20, the threshold is 20, if it's more than 20% of the, putting in a handicap entrance is more than 20% of the original renovation. No, is that wrong? Am I saying something incorrectly?
You're right, however, the building was really repaired, story. And we're submitting that with an alteration. The, so that's the language in the code says if
It
there's.
says it was renovation.
But in
In terms of, the building.
But it was marked here as renovation, not an alteration.
that's your code, right?
But this is our application.
So you have an option for repair.
So you have renovation, altering.
Renovation was like,
But there's
Right.
no option for
But there's
repair.
no option for repair, just renovation or alteration.
And the-
They're essentially,
What's the difference?
Well, in the existing building code, they have repairs or the New York State is reviewing it as if if you want to keep your building stock alive. And you can see that we did a beautiful job keeping that building alive, right? I personally think it looks gorgeous. I think the work that was done is incredible. But we did not reconfigure anything in it. We just restored and repaired it so it didn't fall apart. And so New York State is saying that if you're repairing something, well, then it's not an alteration. Does that make sense?
But is it a renovation? Is a renovation?
There's no place for that on our application.
I think it's semantics. Yeah.
correct, but
Yeah.
this.
There's no place for repair.
Yeah,
There's renovation
or alteration or swimming pool.
Open code.
Our exemption is demolishing the building.
Yeah.
Or demolish.
But it,
Warren, what, you know, what we're talking.
I'm familiar with it.
What's
The New York State building. Code.
the difference between a renovation?
Is it new construction or renovation?
Or is a remember, it's a scale building, right? That was there for,
No, but under the building code, what does it say? Exactly.
So it would be the existing building.
Hmm?
The existing building.
well, what is the actual,
What is it
that sec, Ed, do you have that section?
Course of providing the accessibility are not required. If it exceeds 20% of the cost of construction, you're not required to do an accessibility
Cost of construction.
Right.
Uh,
It does mention alteration.
alteration. Yeah.
Right, and it's talking specifically about alterations, which are.
can I see that?
Yeah, we're not arguing whether it's an alteration or renovation,
okay,
We're not arguing what?
whether it's an alteration or renovation, it just, it doesn't meet 20% or not. That's all, that's simple.
Where's the code here on here? Oh, right here. Cost of, oh, yeah.
I highlighted it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's copies.
I mean, what do you think that accessibility would cost?
We can definitely provide those numbers. However,
Yeah, that-
our argument is that the 20% doesn't even come into play. Because the code is written about specifically alterations and not repairs. It doesn't say 20% of the cost of repairing the building. It says 20% of the cost of the alteration of the building. So that's just how I can get the state to weigh in as well if that's needed, but I can definitely write an email to
I'm
the.
not following you. I think it's simple. The simple is that you just showing that it costs more than 20%.
I guess our argument is that the state hasn't put that onerous on us because it's not an alteration, it's just
There's a spot on there right other, so we could have wrote it as moved there.
It's, if you're looking for it, it's up, provisions are all compliant with it.
What, where? Yeah, in here, right?
We need like an arbitrator to decide whether it's repair or.
It's not really up to this board to make that decision. That's really a building department. It sounds like it's made its decision. It only comes into play for us is that if it's required, it needs to be on site. But
So yeah, when an alteration affects, and you can click on alteration, that will have a definition.
What's the definition of alteration?
Oh, it actually popped up. Any construction or renovation to an existing structure other than a repair or addition. Well, let's look at a repair.
Right.
The construction, replacement, or renewal of any part of an existing building for the purpose of its, or to correct them. So what's a renovation?
Well, renovation, there's multiple kinds, but they all have to do with making changes to the building.
And it really has to do with the reconfiguration of space. So like an alteration level 1,
Like changing walls around?
right.
Let me suggest something. This is not an issue that can be decided by a planning board.
I understand that. I understand that, but like,
But it apply for,
but we have to say if they require this handicap entrance. or-
he's gonna have to work it out with Ed. And if need be, he can appeal it to the state. The appeals process.
We'll just go ahead and do that. I have a relationship with Neil over there, so I can ask him, I can actually.
Yeah, it's good, you're saying it.
That's,
These are state.
Yeah, this is so, I understand. But it's also thick, your federal regulation, the EPA. If I were in a wheelchair and I can't get into a public function,
Yeah.
I
but
could
the
sue.
aid- Yeah, that's
That was-
different than,
I consulted Drew on this, and that was his concern, he said somebody could sue him.
Unless it's grand.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's our understanding that the state is the entity that's enforcing in our state, and our code, the New York State code, provides multiple exceptions for providing accessibility in buildings. There's many times in which you have to have an accessible bathroom, for example, and you wouldn't have to provide an accessible route to it. So there's multiple exceptions. So I think New York State's role is completely arbitrary with that.
I think you'd like to ask more, if they got a determination from the state and the ADA compliance was not needed, would that get the town off the hook from the sewer?
Did he hear you?
did you hear Ed?
I think he said, it's a determination has to be made by the state. And once they make that determination, it gets the planning board off the hook.
That's
Asking.
for the town in general, yeah, that's what he asked. As long as if the state says it's okay, we can be like, whatever.
Again, this is not within your jurisdiction. You can't,
I understand,
planning board.
But
cannot
Ed
make a
needs to know what
decision
he's-
and say, We're gonna,
but Ed needs to know what he's supposed to be doing. And like,
so
what,
it's Ed's decision. They've got to convince Ed. They can't convince Ed. There's an appeals process to the state, or they can discuss this matter with the state to get some more clarification.
so,
Maybe that has to be researched, but it's not an issue.
so what do we do in the meantime? We wait for that to happen, or do we approve it pending that?
The application
as-
doesn't show handicap access.
Currently, no.
I think it has to show handicap access. And if you can eliminate that, when you make your final decision, you can do that at this point. So it just seems like Ed has made a determination that it requires handicap access.
Well, if I may, I think it is great that also said that if it gets down off the hook, the state gives them a waiver.
So I can have correspondence with the state, that would say.
So they're not the DOT, I guess.
Different state agencies behave different.
I know.
Or, the DOS is really like a architect connects with the state, so that when we have code questions, we're constantly asking them questions. I can get state clarification. Yes, so very.
We have a direct line.
So this, so that what we need is specifically to this building, not Not in general.
Absolutely.
Will they come and look at it or how will they do this?
Typically not.
No. We can get on a conference call with Ed.
Yeah,
They can.
Yeah, we
They
can do
can.
that.
Cool.
So that's what you need to do.
Move it.
So in the meantime, are there any other major issues on here that are within our purview?
I'm not a fan of granting any access to Railroad Avenue. The property is expansive. There will be more retail locations on the property. It's going to create more traffic than that road can handle. It's my opinion.
A railroad avenue.
Yes.
And that's with taking into account the future uses, you're saying?
It's taking into account any use on the property and the future uses.
What about the road can't handle?
Pull on Railroad Avenue at 7:30 in the morning, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. There's cars on
So
either
it's
side of the
traffic,
road.
it's not the physical dangers of the road. They're saying there's people going into the deli.
You're adding traffic on a dead end street when you already have access to South Main Street.
The applicant can perform the study too. Just want more information, but it does sound like our reaction is it's trying to access this off. Like the state highway,
This singularly, okay, might be adding only 2, 3 cars, whatever it may be. But my concern is when you give access to, when you give a right of way onto a town road, we're not gonna be able to take that away. If Chris decide, whatever happens to the old Duels building,
Well, no, we have to evaluate, well, the highway department would have to evaluate it with the increased intensity of use. That the further uses. So it's saying in the future, if they come back with a grocery store,
back with a grocery store and a shop, ice cream shop, whatever. Are they still gonna access it through Railroad Avenue? That would be totally so.
that's what it looks like on here.
But I think, that's just like,
only on. You're saying if they only access the.
if you're gonna access the grocery store, an ice cream shop. And a cannabis facility off Railroad Avenue, I don't think. And you have the option of accessing off the state road. I think for the matter of sound planning, the access off the state road, much better.
Okay, but that's a future issue, no? Or not, or that we have to take into account now, because they told us about.
Oh, you have to take it into account that at some point they're going to be using those 2 buildings. Will that use have as their access point Railroad Avenue?
I don't know how we take into account or don't take into account.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
like-
part that I would have, I don't know how to address that in here. Where you know, you can't sort of look at the future use, but then ignore it and say we're going to come back to future use later under seeker items, right? We need to either look at all of those now, or we look at none of those now and we just look at the cannabis shop. We can't do it both ways.
So in the future, they come back, right? And they say we have these other 2 uses. And then we say, well, you're not gonna get the grant, we're not gonna be giving approval, we're doing our review because we didn't do the review now. And then we say, well, you're gonna have to close that entrance. Or at least make it one way or whatever it is that has to happen. As a condition of, and you have to get DOT approval off of.
Done all the time.
So we can address this in the future.
You can, and again, the DOT. Again, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but their general answer. But out of the box, if you go ask for an entrance, right? The first question they ask is, can you access from a different road? And if the answer is yes, then they say you get no entrance off. Seriously, the way they look at it is they look at things based on incidents of accidents, right? So the more times you enter or exit onto a state road, the greater chance of having an accident on a state road. They don't care about county roads or town roads. DOT cares about state roads. So if they can make you access on a county road or a town road, then that lowers their incident of accidents on their roads, and they say, you go do that. Thank you. The permit been.
And it doesn't matter if it's dumping
There-
immediately.
There would
Well-
need to be, in other words, in order to force them to come back off of that position, you would need to be able to show, let's say, there's no safe site distance on the town or county road. Or for some reason, it can't take the trips, right? And that's when they would look at one way in off our road, one way out off of their road, and vice versa. It's like, again, that's that traffic study and engineering analysis that would have to be done. It's, you know, it's not just a,
Does them putting up this fence, does that like eliminate their whatever's there now?
putting up a fence like along that parking lot by the cannabis shop, right? Then that is a barrier from the state road. So you're saying we're not gonna use the state road, we're gonna use railroad Avenue, it's parking. If they were to extend that fence all the way up on the state road, I would suggest thinking long and hard about whether or not you ever access that road again, because the state's gonna use it against you later to say you already voluntarily blocked yourself off of the historic access, go use this town road. And it's gonna be much harder to get it back after we voluntarily surrendered. So again, if there's an intent to use that for whatever purposes in the future, I would not, as a finder, recommend fencing it off. So again, that's not a hard decision. It's planning board. You review the pluses the applicant submitted. But
Right,
so the point though is from review, we are reviewing those uses and taking them under consideration now. Or not. We can't. Like cherry pick. When we want to say that's proposed grocery store. And when we want to say we're gonna look at that later. If it ever comes back, we can't look at it both ways. Doing the one in there.
yeah, go ahead.
The existing square footage, like the three buildings, but in some way, their use of them will require parking that is more than the entrance off the agency for wow. And so the reality is that, you know, those buildings are to be used, we're going to need and then that parking would therefore, there's no way of configuration on the site. I can't sneak cars off of 82 through into the back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this whole 36 parking lot spot here is landlocked. You can only get to it from Railroad Avenue. It's 26.
That's what we're proposing. If we're gonna say.
Why couldn't you can't get there from the dual,
System.
the front dual lot?
It's not very wide.
I don't think you can fit two cars through there.
There's no physical way with allowed in the buildings,
There-
able to get a driveway through.
That would be. I mean, you used to drive right there, to get propane, yeah, you get whatever building material.
I think right in there. But not grocery store type access.
Stools.
They used to have all their bag supplies.
Oh, yeah,
Here,
drive back
they
through
drive
there.
back here and then you came out this, they could even move their entrance and wrap it around. that way.
They live at 76 minutes. Is it this correct in that position?
But it, right, you drove over.
So he drives over.
Theoretically. I think the proposal to put access on a railroad avenue was so that they don't have to deal with the state DOT. We know what dealing with state DOT is like. But I think this just complicates the application.
But on top of it, I don't know. Is any other way up 82 the same? If you need 36 spots or whatever the number is, 50 spots, and how do you come off 82? There's no way to come off 82 to get more parking.
And as George said, the DOT's first question, you know, you can get out something else. So I mean, the DOT's not going to. So they're giving you, but. So I think you should try this. I don't know if you speak with the highway superintendent. Yeah, no, okay.
That's probably the first place to start.
Yeah.
Right? It would be his permit to bring it. Or not.
Yeah, I mean, you can't drive through this.
I know.
You Just make a car through there and there's not, you'd have visibility issues. Takers.
Well, if there's.
If it went one way this way.
Two-way traffic would be tricky.
No, one way wouldn't. No, you could come in this way, blah, 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 to the parking lot, out Railroad Avenue.
What is in the subject there?
The septic is right there.
Right here.
Pine Plain.
Okay. I didn't walk, drive, we've been driving over it for like, how many years?
Yeah.
I mean, and they make septics you can drive over if you had to change it. But anyway, yeah, I think we have to look at it as just the cannabis shop, and then any problems they create for themselves later with getting approvals from us or the state. If, they're making the decision, they're gonna have to live with it and figure it out at that point. I mean, that's how I feel it. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Can't be worried about, I mean, the cannabis shop's not gonna have. I don't think it's gonna have like this tremendous traffic. But have you guys gone by the Red Hook one? The barber shop.
I haven't seen them cause a lot of traffic for it.
Can there be a protection written into the resolution that says, should there be future development on the property in any way, shape, or form, that should an access be granted onto Railroad Avenue, it is subject to change due to increased traffic?
Yeah, but that's like, oh, we can write it, but that's always, that's.
We just have an
Saying I'm gonna drive 30 on road close to 30 off, right? It's, that's right there. Change of use or change of intent of use, the whole site comes under review again. For site access.
Okay, so we're not quite there, but then to schedule a public hearing, because like we don't have a final site plan, because we don't know what's going on with the handicap.
Well, I mean, I think we could solve that problem in two different ways. We could, in our professional opinion, we could provide the budgetary numbers to justify that the cost is greater than 20%. And we also know that we have we're willing to have the conversation with the state
Also,
to get the waiver.
the addition of a ramp would be a minor, a small addition to the overall proposal.
What's the height difference? How long a ramp do you need?
It would be long. Yeah, it's
$20,000?
Again, our argument isn't about the 20%, and that we decided that we were going to talk state about it. I don't have an answer to just to
I'm
Tricia.
just trying to get all the pieces together here.
But we should have that before we
Don't care.
schedule a public hearing.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Draw away from care.
Right, but again, it's not our purview, it's up to Ed. And we don't have that piece of information yet.
so wouldn't I just say if we didn't have that resolved and you opened the public hearing next meeting and you weren't satisfied that the site plan was completed, then couldn't you just continue the public hearing?
Yeah, we're not understanding the reason to keep it from the budget. This is something that we would like to hear people comments on them as well, as I imagine you all.
Including the two key pieces. I don't know, what did Warren, George, what do you guys think?
You could schedule for a public hearing with the understanding that they probably gonna have more than one public hearing that's gonna be adjourned until this issue is resolved. Yeah, won't be able to issue final approval until that issue and there are other issues then. So if they want to take the risk of starting the industry with public hearing, sense with the understanding that there are a lot of these all issues. I hope that helps.
What's the risk?
That they spend money on the public hearing process that You know, they're gonna have to establish an escrow.
Well, we have to have that already.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so, yeah, I mean, I guess with the,
Architect coming to the,
all right, so with the proviso that, you know, obviously we don't feel we have a totally.
but you're gonna need a sign off from Ed's office. So,
Yeah. We understand, what are you guys talking about, what's up? Steve?
Is there maybe an issue with the handicap access in the DOT right away?
Is it in the right, oh,
Yeah.
Not even the handicap access, just that apron, is that what you're talking about?
Is it just that apron? Is it, it's up on it?
With the access going up here to where.
We talked about that, clear that. Once we get a survey, right? Well, 70 bricks a day.
Yeah, the right of way. I believe is property line.
Right. Yeah, and the property and that little work on the front porch is.
It's like
right on.
right on the property.
So, very, very likely.
So that's like if you were trying, if that's what you're trying to access, the ramp. Yeah. That ramp is from the ramp, that would also trigger you to. We can't prove something in the still there.
so we have to be here from the DOT anyway?
If there's a handicap ramp going into that,
Where's
right away. Well, there's the front door, like right up on the right of way line. With the porch, or if you want to call it the front.
yeah, that's.
So I'm saying if the handicap ramp is gonna go to that. Got some way into their right of way, that would also. Part. And again, not to say they wouldn't allow it, but
Yeah,
sometimes they require a lease agreement to use and to the right. For access or parking or anything.
That's, I can definitely see a way to design a ramp that's not in the right of way. It would be. You could use it utilize the side door, but however, that's why we're bringing it up. You don't show ramp up there. Yeah. Right.
So unless you want to go back to here.
Understood.
Okay, so can I, when is the,
Next month.
what's next month?
September.
Well, I know that part.
Yeah, right.
Oh, look at
Right.
Microsoft, so nice.
I mean, if that's the correct.
September 10th.
It's 10?
It's the 10th.
Um. All right, so can I have a, motion to schedule a public hearing for 7:35 on PM on, September 10th. With the proviso that we don't have a complete picture. I'm waiting on, obviously, these topics that we discussed, including the handicap ramp. The DOT, et cetera. I make the motion. Can I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And I'll send those letters and we'll get out the regular. The regular notifications, obviously Tricia will do. What am I doing here? So it is 7. I'm sorry, 9, 10. 1 plus 7. Okay.
And where are we with seeker?
Gives me some clarity and some time.
We haven't declared lead agency yet. We did or we didn't?
I don't.
Just have to classify.
Did you classify?
Well, you have to classify it as an unlisted action.
Yeah.
So we don't have to notify anyone. We
You
can
don't
just
have to
agree.
do it for it.
All right, so can I have a motion to declare ourselves lead agency, classified unlisted action and declare ourselves lead agents?
Someone,
Second.
All in favor?
I,
Aye. All opposed? All right, we are now lead agency. And it's unlisted action.
Yeah. Let's go to county planning.
It does have to go to county planning?
Yes, it's on a state road.
Okay,
We have,
can we make that referral?
We don't have,
Here's part one of the,
Yes.
we have the AF.
It's
What about the whole handicap thing? Like, do they need to see what's going on with that or?
well, you could send it to, county planning, see what they say, they may raise that is.
yeah, we would,
And in the meantime, we'll respond quickly on that. So if we could,
and we would love to have the county's comments sooner than later.
30 days. I think that's very.
That's the way he's very good. He watches our meetings. It's very good. Okay, is that it? Yes? For you guys, something.
Good for us, yeah, unless we need to do it procedurally.
No, that's, there's your dissent. All right, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
All right, next up on the agenda is the Capilano updates. Hello, how are you doing? Just to refresh everyone's memory, or those who have not been on the board. No, let's just wait a second while people,
Oh.
you guys want to come up here, please? So this is a property across from the Brown Bag, that had a red house there. Remind me, what the house was it? Patchen's house. And they asked for an ADU to be, approved on their site, even though it was gonna be, built, while they were gonna live there, and then they were gonna either renovate or tear down and then rebuild the main house in the front. And we approved that. We were doing this during COVID where we approved a couple of these with this kind of reverse order thing. And they, obviously it's how many years later now, and the main house, the ADU is almost finished, or some, well, they'll let us know. And the front house has been demolished and there's a hole in the ground, and you guys take it from here. So what's the status and what's the plans and what's?
Time. In the house that was, my piece of industrial assets. 3 years later, we were swept up in lifting costs, delays from payment to infrastructure, everything. So it took longer, possible.
Maybe you just a little, I'm worried it's not picking up on the mic. You got the air conditioning on.
Okay, so it took longer, it cost more, and we have had plans to build a house, in the front that was in the likeness of the matching house. We then had to change the plans to modify this structure because it was too expensive. It's point in time. We did that. It's still above and beyond what we can do, and so we are hoping would be amenable to us landscaping the property at the time, at this time. Taking all the construction equipment out and making it aesthetically considerably more pleasing than it is today. It was really our intent. So we're more disappointed. It's kind of what's happened. Current environment doesn't give us much confidence that we should go forward at this point in time. Meaning supply chains and everything that talk to our contractors about, potential contractors. Tell us that there's volatility in pricing, there's has to be the consumer and the customer. And we feel that that's a great risk to take at this point. And the fact that the ADU was considerably more than we have anticipated because we were so up at that time too. So anyway, we're really pleased with what we have. And we think that and hopefully in the future we can continue with the plans we got on the show.
Sure, I told her I would, but we totally understand where you are. I mean, we totally understand the streetscape there, and now it's not. We want as much as you want, a house with 6 windows, a period door with lights all around it, with the same custom trim around the windows, with port valves. I mean, we want that too, but it is hugely expensive to build that. We designed it. And it just doesn't make sense in this environment. The political environment, the social environment. We have contractor friends that tell us, you know, we did a job and like when we go to buy stuff, we're telling people 20% more. It's not just tariffs, it's also the devaluation of the dollar. You know, so it's just a difficult time to do that. Anyway.
All right, so bottom line is you guys are gonna fill in the hole, clean it up, remove the construction, sign the fence.
See that. For be able to spend more time with them.
Okay. Does any members have any questions?
Think about some plantings that will fit in with that
Yes.
neighborhood.
Yeah. We have.
We have stones enough to make a gravestone wall.
I love this idea. So,
And this all makes sense to you from the building department standpoint?
afterwards.
It'll have. Yeah, it's obviously not ideal. We knew now. Well, we knew then what we knew now. I guess we might have said, you know what, just rebuild the front house. It's not like you got in there any sooner. All right,
When do you think you'll go for CO? Soon, okay.
I think they're waiting on one or two things.
Thank you.
all right, well, good luck and hopefully sometime in the future, it'll to get filled in.
It's,
All right, thank you for coming in and.
Let me ask,
Oh, Warren, yes.
I remember we tortured all this. Just for this reason. So now the ADU will become,
The primary house.
and there will be no other residents on that.
There's no other resident approved on that property at the moment. Yeah, it's now the primary house.
Well, then the prior approval, plan, they have to come to a planning board and determine.
We have to, I mean, it's already in there. It says if we're not,
Because that was not what was approved. What's approved was an ADU, if they would live in the ADU and then they would rebuild the house. And so now you have to have a reconsideration of that approval. So now it becomes official that that's the ADU now is the primary residence. And we have to make sure that meets the requirements for a primary residence. And then the prior approval. I'm not in favor of just saying that's okay.
well, I mean, we put it in that, so just putting it in there in that. That if it doesn't get done in X amount of time, which obviously way has passed, it becomes the primary residence.
Is that what it said?
I believe that's what it said. I mean, we can get that. We can. So we have to do something further? I mean, it was kind of automated.
Yeah, I did not bring that file with,
Okay,
so let me take a look at the pull out the file. And take a look at the resolution. And then I'll give you my.
and so, okay, so say it's not in there, right? Then we have to do just a resolution saying. This previous ADU is revoked and the ADU existing on the property is now the primary residence.
Yeah, something. To-
We acknowledge that, so I mean, we don't handle primary residence normally.
Let me look at the resolution that we passed.
So the grandfather foundation that's
Yes.
there Right. He's probably in violation of setbacks, but his grandfather and is contextual with the whole town.
Right, and we wouldn't want to lose that.
Well, but we're losing it by taking it up and making it disappear. So I don't quite know what the resolution. I'm putting it out as a question.
I'm not sure I understand.
If you have a foundation, you're gonna build up. It's grandfathered in, chances are it's a certain acreage, you need a certain front yard,
Was the
side
house
yard.
supposed to be renovated or was it going to be?
They weren't
torn down
sure,
and
but
then
it
rebuilt?
was one or the other, because they had to make the determination based upon the foundation. They were very concerned that, they told us they were very concerned it was gonna have to be torn down.
But if you have a foundation, it's grandfathered in, you can build on top of it. If you don't have a foundation, you dig it all up and throw rocks away.
No, you can't build on top
Sure you can.
Well, you can't build on.
because they're in
You
violation
have
of
to, yeah.
they built.
Well, that's the dilemma here. What I'm saying is you're losing the right to put a house back in perpetuity. In other words, 100 years from now, you want to put a house there, you're screwed.
Or what about 5 years?
Correct.
Yeah,
You can't-
3 years.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it has to be changed so that the ADU becomes now the primary residence.
But Warren,
A secondary residence is not
if
permitted.
if in 2 years they want to come back and put the actual house
Yeah, you don't give
there,
that up.
is there a way to keep it so that they could have it in that same location in our,
Ed, what's the setback in that zone?
Can't feel
More
it.
than it is now.
It's like 10, right?
10 to 25, I think.
So that's it?
It's only like 10 feet. I
Yeah,
can't.
yeah.
If
I
you
think
just,
10 is the maximum 25. For a minute, but.
Yeah, I don't know if they're losing that much, like even.
I
if
don't
they-
know.
The ADU is now the primary residence. I don't think you understand.
Well, there's no foundation there.
There's no
I
foundation.
mean, there's
There
a
is-
hole.
there isn't a foundation you could build on, but the foundation's still there, we didn't take it. Because if you take that foundation down, you gotta worry about the road. You know, you're gonna destabilize the road. So we haven't done anything with that front wall. And if you're really interested in the historic aspect of the city, you wanna allow it
If they
to
want-
build on that.
Again, it's like 10 feet. How, I mean, if it's like
10 to
8,
25 feet, but they're 150 feet.
well, no, that's the non, it's a now non-conforming property. Hopefully they'll remedy this in the future.
Yeah. We need a resolution to allow them to be done.
See, no, because it's there.
Yeah. I'm not pushing for it.
Yeah, no, we don't have,
Make it primary residence.
yeah.
It's has to be accepted to certain things.
Oh, what do you mean?
Rear yard setback, for instance. I don't
Oh,
know where it
it's
is.
non-conforming now.
Yeah, it's non-conforming. So now you're gonna have to have the non-conforming thing be a primary residence. And I don't know what.
That's what we put in our original resolution. If they don't build if they tear down
Right,
and not build back the current primary residence that was there,
right.
then the ADU becomes a primary residence and they lose the ADU. So it was gonna create it was, again, this is in the middle of COVID.
Right.
They're trying to move out of the city as fast as they could.
Yeah.
Mr. Capilano had some serious COVID illness.
Carry the steps, okay.
Yeah, so, so we were, trying to be accommodating.
If we make the new house the primary residence and they come back and state they're going to rebuild on the Patchen House foundation, that's now going to become an ADU to the property, which is now going to be limited by square footage.
Right.
Which is, the original footprint of the Patchen House is significantly larger than what our.
How big is the ADU?
12.
The plans are scaled down for 2,200, so we would have to come back to you and then swap that.
Charging walls. There's another hearing.
No,
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Laura will look at the resolution that we passed and see if it's enough,
The resolution
and then we'll see where we have to do anything.
and now, and
Well, it was a risk that we definitely,
Yeah.
it was a risk that we created.
There can be a workaround, but then.
Hopefully it'll be rented. Again, I kind of brought that up when we were talking about the old library. I was like, we learned our lessons.
Yeah.
And then not in an emergency. Okay, thank you. Bancroft property. Do we have? Where? Did you already submit plans to Treasurer? Yes. All right, let's hear that. Something in that.
Steinberg was.
Oh, yeah. I was like, that's not.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the name, so, sorry.
Um. No. So you wanna walk us through this, please? And tell us what's going on?
The lots. Yes, but I don't remember.
It's a pretty big, it's pretty.
It's a really good. Yeah, on a purchase, actually,
There's a lot covered, let's say. I don't think there's a minimum. For,
Right here is where the proposed two-bedroom tiny home. Is there any-
Property Hill Road here.
Yep, the old Cook one.
Yep.
That's the whole property. These are the existing barns. This is where it's gonna be a two-bedroom tiny home. That's only gonna be used during when the polo guys are up. That they're just gonna stay in there. Well, the guys who take care of the horses. The septic system has already been approved by the Board of Health, primary, secondary. It's pretty flat, open, plenty of property, 100 and some odd acres.
And they come in off here and then go over here?
Yes. They'll park here and have to walk around. Like I said, it's more or less like a walk house type thing.
How many square feet?
I just think of the actual dimensions of it. I believe that was 24 by maybe it's 40. I don't have it.
Is it on the application?
Yeah, it might be on the application. So, it's the slab. It's an elevation.
So is there no house there or the house is somewhere else? These are just barns I'm looking at.
Yeah, these are all horse barns. Right here, this is like a little tractor shed,
Okay.
and it's located right behind it.
And where is it? Is there a residence on this property or just?
There's a new house, like 3 years ago or something
So
like
up here
that.
some.
Yeah, it way ways. Can't even see it from anyway.
Closer to the town zoning.
Is this a property line here?
No, that's a horse fence that goes around. Which is also gonna end up getting moved a little bit just to accommodate the grade.
George, anything?
Didn't really look at it, and it was pretty cut and dry. Yeah, just
This is the, what is this, when it starts to go up the hill here? This is like Doug's
That's the
barn.
biggest thing.
What's that? Yeah, well, when do we hear that?
These are the lower barn.
Mhm.
Pretty small, obviously they've got plenty of room to pull in and park, so the parking issues and.
I saw it said slab. Are there footings and wall?
No, it's a regular poured slab, like an Alaskan slab
Yeah,
for that building is,
I would defer to Ed for the energy code. Because you need to insulate a foundation or the house. And that's a whole nother construction, everything's got done by code that,
Okay.
in that sense.
Ted, have you looked at these plans?
And the house man's gonna, was in,
It's just a, essentially, it's not even around your rental. Well, to see you guys should take care of the total horses. So if they're up, they're just really so what they hear by and once out of the years, and how much we get, and then it gets shut down. So they,
Does that even fall? I feel like ag and market.
I would say farm worker.
Yeah.
And the housing is actually
caretaker, like.
Yeah.
As long as it's not being rented or anything like that.
I think those are working here on function. So I'm not sure we can stop it. Even with.
Yeah, there might be ag
Yeah.
markets.
Well, I mean, are we scheduling a public hearing or not?
If it falls under the category, right, of seasonal farm worker housing,
It's not even our thing.
they're kind of exempt from owner's review, but I mean, again, to the extent that the applicant wants to kind of go through the paces, if you will, we could set the hearing, we've obviously got enough information there. Full site plan from the licensed engineer signed the seal, we read on part through, we could set it, have a hearing next month,
But
I
do
mean,
you
they would,
want?
they would
Close
still
it.
have to get
do the
a
next.
building
And
permit.
you're done, and you still have to get a building permit, yeah, but I'm just saying that would
No.
follow the paces and that would not be onerous.
Right.
But
That would fall under special use for that, really. Who caretaker?
Well, George is saying it might fall in ag and market.
If it's ag and markets, it could be like
Just the.
that's
worker
the same, it's
housing.
for seasonal workers, you know,
Yes, where
farm.
nobody, if they weren't sure.
That's one thing,
Right, here
if it's
now.
rental, it's a different thing. And if it's, you know, permanent caretaker residence, that's a different, you know what I
Right,
mean, that's not.
so maybe if you go this
Yeah,
route
sure,
and
yeah.
then,
Then you don't have to.
then you're
worry.
covered for any use that they did want.
That's what I'm saying, if your approval is probably gonna come through, so it may be in your best interest to. To,
But you're not worried
because then
about
you're not
spending the money.
restricted to only seasonal. Worker housing.
I mean, I can't speak for the owner in that sense as far as spending money, but I'm
Yeah.
sure you won't have a problem.
Oh, yeah, well, you're here speaking for him. So,
They are spending his money.
did you not sign the,
Yes, I did.
so owner
It
consent?
doesn't change.
I'm not ready to check though. I think I drove.
It doesn't change the engineering, if that's what we're talking about, does it? It doesn't change the legal, you know, premise of the application. Yeah. I think it's quite a fast coming through.
DOH signed off on septic. There's no other accessory dwellings on the property.
Nope.
It's under 1,200 square feet.
Yes.
Only things in the code that I see.
Yeah.
Which is true here.
All right, can I have a motion to? Get 10, there we go. And this is about bank fraud, or is it this? Can I have a motion to set a public hearing for 7:50 on September 10th?
So moved.
Second.
So we ready. Is there anything else? We don't have to do anything else with this, right? Just the public hearing, send out notices. Yeah. I think that's it. All right, so we'll see you next month.
Sure, thank you very much.
Anything like to say? What's that? Oh, okay, can I have a? So yes, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thanks. I'm so busy like trying to write stuff down, I forgot.
You had 2 jobs.
I have 2 jobs.
Does this have to go to, was it in an ag district?
Probably
Never mind. No, never mind.
It's not?
It's not,
Okay.
seems. It's not, but
It's incredible.
counts. I wasn't.
All All right, that's done. Did everyone get a chance to, well, first of all, is anything more for George and Warren? I don't think so.
No, no.
I'm just skipping out on. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks very much. Good night.
Can I have, did everyone get the chance to read the July minutes?
Yes.
Does anyone have any changes or comments? Do I have a motion to accept the July minutes?
Motion, second.
All in favor of accepting them? All opposed?
Yeah.
Accept them.
Want to talk? That one. Like.
Oh, I almost forgot. No, that we gotta talk. Do we need warrant for that? No, no. Kevin. All right, so. The CAC came to me last month. And they were asking for these letters of support for things they were doing. To try to get grants. One of which was, the inventory, the natural resources inventory.
I want to grant.
And I kind of sent a quick note on that, and then they started asking me this very long letter that I guess the grant writer wrote, they wanted me to sign on to. So we kind of talked about the natural resources inventory, I don't know if anyone remembers at the end of last meeting, so I felt okay saying that's something we could support. And they started asking for this carbon, what is it? Carbon something inventory where what the town is using for carbon, carbon emissions and what any of the businesses and properties in the town are using for carbon emissions. And there's language in there about how it would be used to inform our approval process on applications and stuff. I was like, okay, well. I was like, I'm not gonna.
Town buildings or cumulatively everything?
Everything. It was two separate sections. One, the town buildings, and then everything in the town. Take it inventory. Where, if you read.
I feel like, would we be happy to take it into account for every single?
Right.
Yeah.
Someone wants to have a trucking thing or something. Oh, well, now we have to take into carbon. So I was like, first of all, I didn't feel comfortable doing it on my own, and I was kind of opposed to it.
They're just looking for what the town itself.
No, it's both.
It is.
You read that, it's just two sections.
Glanced at that. It is pretty damn involved. I don't really think it should fall necessarily on your shoulders.
It's not on our shoulders. They were just looking for support for the grant, and I was not gonna without asking everyone, and I had my reservations about it on top of it. And then after talking to George, I found that even the natural resources inventory, if they do it and start talking about habitat, thank you, Ed. I think we're good. That can become restrictive if they develop these habitat maps. So we come up against dealing with worrying about the bats or the bog turtle, and they'll be like, might not be any there, but this is habitat that a bog turtle could live in. And then all of a sudden it gives ammunition to groups that want to stop the project that say, well, you have to do a full review of this because bog turtle could be there, even though this, or you can't eliminate any of their habitat. So it is a lot. I think the town's got to really think about if it's doing the natural resources inventory, making sure the language is put into the code so that it's not restrictive, it's not binding. And the carbon thing is just a can of worms, in my opinion. You put it out there. So I was not comfortable signing it. You guys, I should have seen it. I forgot to forward it to you guys. I probably forgot.
Don't you already have something like that through Lasonia?
We did have something, a few years ago, they took a look at and gave us maps and overlays and stuff. I don't think it's as detailed as a full, natural resources and.
So I think we just gotta watch, make sure this doesn't come into something else to tie down
So,
property owners and people trying to do things.
start to talk to, Gail all about it. And Janine, when she gets back, we're standing that into where you want to go. I mean, it's good to know what you have. I don't want to be overly restricted, but by the same token, I don't think we want to ignore it either.
Well, obviously, we don't, but the town,
Balance.
the town properties. Yeah, not that we concern ourselves with, that's like planning more. But like, it was really language in there. And I can pull it up, you don't even like that. I can pull it up. Do you have it, Keith? Or? And I was supposed to Florida, but I didn't.
I mean, I'd like for the CAC personally to be able to comment more on applications as they do in other towns.
Right.
They have more expertise to be able to digest a lot of the environmental stuff than I do. Then that's on their shoulders and not.
I mean, that should,
Us to make
it should be something that we can take into account as opposed to binding our actions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, this. Yeah, Danielle or oh my God, well, this email system. I have it, it says I have an attachment. There's no attachment here. This Danielle Aronsky. I'm looking at the email, but I can't, I wonder if I have it just downloaded. Constantly, I'm doing that where I go in, I can't see the attachments. And
I was just doing that. Couldn't find the attachments. Paperclip is there. But nothing yet. Trying to get us all to upgrade.
Good idea.
CSC support letter.
post it through the website. Or is it we sell it?
Yeah, here it is. All right, so this is, can't pull it up, obviously, but as chair of the town, this is what they want me to sign. As chair of the town to Commissioner Lefton of the New York Department of Environmental Conservation. As chair of the town of Pine Plains Planning Board, I am pleased to offer my strong support for the town's application to the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's Climate Smart Communities Certification Grant Program. And by the way, what this climate smart thing is, like you have like a grade, like, bronze, silver, gold. And the more things that you do on this list, the higher, and then the more grants are open to you. So it's kind of like this.
Which is special thing again.
Yeah, it's like try to get this money. If you want this money, you got to do this. The funding will enable Pine Plains to complete both a government operations greenhouse gas inventory and a community greenhouse gas inventory, two essential planning tools that will guide our municipal decision-making for years to come. Our planning board is deeply committed to supporting sustainable development, protecting our rural character and natural resources, improving infrastructure in line with community values. However, we currently lack the data needed to quantify our emissions and prioritize investments that will have the greatest climate and economic impact. The GHG inventories will fill that gap, offering baseline data that can inform policy updates, capital planning, and long-range sustainability goals. The town has taken important steps to build a climate planning capacity, including appointing a CSC coordinator who is actively assembling a task force and supporting the work of our Conservation Advisory Council. While the CIC is pursuing separate funding to complete a natural resources inventory, the work is highly complementary and reflects a shared commitment to climate-informed, evidence-based planning. I'm confident the results of the project will directly enhance our ability to evaluate land use decisions, infrastructure proposals, municipal operations through a sustainability lens. This project is a vital next step in our effort to create a more resilient, climate-smart Pine Plains. Thanks for your consideration. So this, like, what is this task force gonna do? Like, what powers is it gonna have? Like,
Climate smart committee.
the CS was actively assembling a task, what's the task?
Not really sure. I think they mean climate smart committee at group that is looking at leading those, what you read there, qualifications and
Who's, you're the are you the CSC coordinator? Appointing a climate smart committee coordinator, who's that?
chair.
So that might be you.
Yeah.
And assembling a task force,
Two people, so
yeah, you know, yeah, so the community GHG inventory, that I assume is the whole town. In addition to. Yeah, it's too amorphous for me to know what this is exactly gonna do before. Oh,
I mean, the climate smart community part about, you know. Stuff that we've already done might be included, like the solar facility that's going in, you know, that should count. So stuff like that enables us. You know, I mean, able to get more grants is good, but. You know, I understand your concerns about your natural resources in them.
and just, you know, what is it, I mean, as it is. I mean, you see the process for somebody to open a business in the town, you know, and the cost. Every time I call Warren, every time I send him an email, you know,
Additional burden that's
yeah.
probably not as. And I can get as much fun as. That's what it's put into it, you know.
So it's gotta be done smart, I guess, or done, you know, to be clear on what we're doing here and not all of a sudden end up with. You know, some sort of task force or other body that's like. Causing people to, you know, not be able to develop business and do what they want with their land.
We're pretty thorough as it is now. I mean, you know,
I mean, that's part of our secret process is,
environmental impact, everything.
and in renewable energy is one of the things we have to check off. Does it take into account renewable energy on? But again,
It seems to me that there's always a lot of conflict with all this, because here we're doing something with the solar facility, and yet as good and as green as that is, there's a big fight about bats and about trees, and you know, there were issues around it. So there's no easy way through any of this, you know. You think you're doing good somewhere and someone else will show you you're doing bad.
although we weren't doing that.
Right.
This is clear, everyone who's listening out there.
To be fair,
Right, it was not us.
you know, it's still our community that has it.
Again, so if you think about it, right, what they're concerned about is policy frameworks, right? So what we did is we passed a law. That provided for allowing that as a use, which then. Somebody came in and, you know. Used the law, the new law, the new use that can be used for the land use in this area and develop the solar. So I mean that's like what they're mainly concerned about, right? Not even doing specific things, but creating the policy frameworks that will advance their goals, which, you know, that's fine, you know, but as long as it, you know, or it could be fine if it's done right, or it could be onerous and restrictive on the owners in the community. You just gotta be careful. Come on board for adopt those policies. It would. But you know, but part of the process is like the comprehensive plan process, which we're all part of, and I would suggest talking to people like George and, you know, they're experts, and just what exactly does this do? You know,
Somebody that's been
like-
involved with it, definitely, because
Yeah.
it could be a lot more cumbersome than you realize.
On that website there's a map and it lists towns and how far they've gone in the process, and maybe I should contact some of them and say, you know, spill the pitfalls, tell me why we don't want this.
Right, and that's, I think George can have some, like, other engineers who might wanna reach out to them and.
There has to
Just
be
to
more
see what-
restrictions than if they're dangling money in front of you like that.
Yeah, it's New York State.
We'll give you this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the strings are always the
Yeah.
rub.
That's fun stuff.
So I'll forward this letter now, and I guess I'll have to create a new email because I can't forward it because it's not the attachments. This went to, actually, this did go to everyone. Did you guys not see it, or did you not see the attachment? So you guys were like, whatever. This went to everyone on here. Right, Ethan, yeah,
From you?
From Patricia. What, there's one thing Patricia said I couldn't vote.
what's that?
There's one thing I couldn't vote.
Wait a minute, was I, did I, oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I just read the right thing, but I was looking at the wrong email. Sorry,
I can't,
Yeah.
I got it on the Wi-Fi here, so I can't.
alright. What was that called again? It's Farben. Actually, let me see. You know, again, stupid. I was looking at the wrong thing. But I read you the right thing. I was looking at the wrong email. So maybe I might have to take back my bad words for the. But anyway, I'll get it. When I find it at home, I'll get it.
Tricious value.
But the search function, that's another thing. The search function on this email system, you can't find anything.
Can't find
It's like, it's so restricted. Anyway, I'll get that to you guys.
It's state, not state of the art.
Oh, here it is, letter of support. Here, I'll forward, yeah, this
This
is,
is a nice letter.
Yeah.
A little bureaucratic.
what, that letter? Well, that was written by the grant writer.
Stand.
For the natural resources thing, I wrote like 2 sentences. And I was, yeah, we're like support this, and it'll be good for the town, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so, all right, with that, can I have a motion to adjourn? Nothing else from the town board, right? All right, so with that, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you, everyone. Ronstein, that's the person that was part of the solar. It was from Maureen Mooney.